If you're inspo tanks, and make no mistake, you've come to the right place. Just give to Neil the time to straight up blow your mind with a new show of Drawing a Blank.
Welcome back to Drawing a Blank. It's been... oh, wow. I drew Clay in episode 11. 11? And I promised I'd draw Tsunami and some SeaWings months ago at this point. Sorry about that. Turns out I've had a lot of thinking to do when it comes to SeaWing design, and if I'm being perfectly honest with you all, I'm still not sure I found exactly what I'm looking for. But I think it's time to turn in my homework so far and make good on my promise to draw some more Wings of Fire characters. I've literally been mulling these designs over and over in my head since the Clay episode, and been doing a lot of drawing trying to prepare. You guys might be surprised to hear this, but I tend to do a fair share of prep drawing before even starting a Drawing a Blank episode, whether it be just a little thumbnail sketch before hitting the record button, or several hours of scribbling furiously in a sketchbook with a pen. There's almost always several drawings you guys don't get to see before I sit down and start an episode. So I guess today I'm going to pull the curtain back on that a bit and show you some of my prep sketch work. I'll admit that Clay's simpler, more animation-friendly design came to me fairly easily. Creating something similar for the SeaWings has been quite a challenge, and I want to explain my thought process in this episode, so it might be a bit more headcanon-y and rambly this time around. Back in the episode with Clay, I drew what I felt a fairly common mudwing would look like, and then when I drew Clay, I could look at my generalized mudwing and ask myself, what makes Clay different? This is how I generally think of character design most of the time, but when it comes to SeaWings, I ran into a problem. I realized that I have no idea what I think a common SeaWing should look like, and extrapolating on that, I think SeaWings should all have vastly different body shapes based on a lot of common shapes you'd see in oceanic life. I think it would be really cool to see SeaWings that have body types based on sharks, fish, seahorses, and yada yada yada, you know? This opened up a huge world of possibilities character design-wise, and left me with very little solid plans to attach myself to, especially when it came to Tsunami and many of the other main SeaWing characters. So, my first challenge was to try to nail down some ideas of how other SeaWings looked. I did some rough passes here at Queen Coral, Tsunami, Anemone, Turtle, Albatross, Gill, Whirlpool, and Princess Orca. Using vastly different head, horn, and ear shapes, it really made each SeaWing stand out, and I ended up being fairly happy with all of these except for Tsunami, Anemone, and Turtles. Go figure, right? The most important and well-developed characters are always the hardest to nail down, in my opinion. A few weeks ago, I even started this drawing of the three royal siblings chilling out together based on some references I found on seals, but I ended up really hating this drawing, so it got pitched and I did something different for that week's episode. And then here's a bunch of other failed attempts I have at trying to just draw these three. As you guys can probably see, I have a fairly strong idea of the basic shapes I'm looking for, but none of them have really hit the mark yet. I love the look Tsunami has on the book cover of The Lost Heir. That round nose, the pure blue of her scales, the horn shape, it's pretty flawless in my opinion, and I can't imagine Tsunami really looking any different. But adapting that look has given me a lot more trouble than I'd like to admit. She's already been a character I've redesigned twice for my button designs that I sell at conventions, and truth be told, she's probably going to get several more redesigns before I'm finally happy with it. And then for Anemone, I can't help but imagine her with similar features to her older sister, but more dainty and upturned. A pointy snout and frilly ears helped get the stuck-up attitude I feel like she has across. I did finally land on designs that I think work for them here, and translated these to my final piece, but I still want to polish them, and I'm not completely happy. And in case you're wondering, I did finally land on a more solid design for Turtle as well, but I'll save that one for another episode. Since I did end up liking these designs for the other SeaWings though, I decided to go ahead and give them a rough color palette as well. I'll definitely have to keep analyzing SeaWings and rethink how I see them. I feel like I'm so close, yet so far away from making designs that I can really be proud of for these characters. This episode has been all over the place, and I don't know how to feel about it, so let me know your thoughts on all this, and maybe tell me about times you've had to puzzle your way out of an art problem. As a side note, I think now is as good a time as any to mention that I've started another Tumblr blog, this time dedicated to Wings of Fire character designs. Which makes 3 blogs I have now. My normal art one where I post all my art and answer questions, my Warriors design one, and now a Wings of Fire one. Links will be in the description if you want to follow me on any of those. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be back next week with a new episode and hopefully a better grasp at what I'm doing. Until then, please stay inspired.